The crucial moment in the hero's journey is when the hero faces his deepest temptation. But what exactly happens? Overcoming the temptation and the death of the false ego. Stage 8 of the hero's journey. Now, what is stage 8? The temptation is really the final challenge of the hero on his path before he can achieve the ultimate boon. He's been inspired by the muse, he's been inspired by this great positive force, and now in his way stands the last and final challenge. If the muse was a female figure, a positive female figure, then the last challenge could be a negative female figure, a female figure that tries to pull him away from his true love. It could also be a female figure that isn't meant for him. For example, as in the case of King David and Bathsheba. Bathsheba was the wife of one of King David's soldiers. And to be with her, to sleep with her, would have been a major crime in the world of the Torah. Therefore, to see her and to be attracted to her was a great temptation. And in the story of David, well, if you read the Bible, you will find he didn't deal too good with it. He made a couple of major mistakes, major sins. So with David and Bathsheba, we don't have necessarily a good example for overcoming the temptation. It's more an example for failing at the temptation. But we also do get that in mythology, especially at this stage. Quite a few figures in mythology fail to overcome the temptation, and then we see what happens if you don't overcome the temptation. Of course, we do get a number of positive examples as well. In the Bible, we have the temptation of Abraham, who was asked to bind Isaac and sacrifice him, and he dealt marvelously with that temptation. He completely committed his life and everything that was important to him to God, and he was blessed and received the ultimate boon, which was to become the forefather of the Jewish people, and in a way the ancestor of every religion that is in some form associated with the Torah or the Bible. We also have the temptations of Jesus and Buddha and many other saints and holy figures in the different cultures, which are typically the heroes of this part of the hero's journey, because this part of the hero's journey is more a part associated to spiritual ideas and to a deeper personal development. Now, that doesn't mean if you're an atheist that these symbols and metaphors aren't meaningful to you. Now, you don't necessarily need to accept the religious part of it, but you can still accept the meaning and significance of the metaphors. The pictogram we use to describe this stage is the hero being tempted by a devil-like figure, and in the current version of the pictogram, the temptation is all about money and power, and it's symbolized by a big chest of money. Now, in mythology, it's usually not money. In mythology, it's the temptation of a sexual figure, very often. It can be power, but very rarely it is actually in the form of money. But it was a good way to represent this in an image. So if we want to apply this stage of the hero's journey to our own life, here's what it is all about. This is the point where we execute the key transformation. This is where we make the difference. That makes the difference. So for example, in soccer, this is where you score a goal. In flying a plane, this is where you have reached your main flying height and you basically do the main thing about flying. You cross the distance to where you actually want to be. It's in any action, this is the main thing. It's the difference that makes the difference. It's the one thing that you need to perform in order to get the result that you actually want to get in the end. So this is the third type of challenge. It's the deepest challenge. The first challenge was on the cognitive level, in a sense. It was overcoming the refusal. It was this reviewing process, this process of thinking, can I actually do it? So you had to overcome your negative thoughts about the hero's journey. On the next level, the road of trial. The road of trials is some much more deeper level of challenges, because now you actually have to master the emotion and the courage to fight the dragon or the monster, or actually get involved with the task. But now this third and final challenge is on the subconscious level, and it hits much deeper. It's much tougher than overcoming the fear of a dragon. Now we have to overcome our deepest desires and instincts that might drag us away from our true path. And this is why it is appropriate that this level is often represented in mythology with this sexual imagery. We already mentioned it in the last video. Freud, for good reasons, associated the subconscious level of our being with a sexual symbolism. Now, he was really, really strict about the importance of sexuality for the subconscious, or for the unconscious, as he called it. Now, he was probably going a little bit too far, and some of Jung's criticism makes sense to me, but the metaphor of sexuality for this level is a really, really good metaphor. And very often we find another type of metaphoric images, which is the death of the false ego. So the hero sometimes even has to go through some death-like experience to die and literally be reborn, which represents the death of his ego. Now this is the death of all those parts in us, our false ego, that distract us from our true path. And once we've overcome that, we are ready to receive our ultimate boon, about which we will hear more in the next video. So if you liked the video, as always, don't forget to give us your like and to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I'm looking forward to meet you in the next video. Just one more afterthought. Is sexuality the most tempting thing that exists? What do you think? Looking forward to your thoughts in the comments. Don't be tempted by the wrong things.